There are many cultures that believe in fate and destiny. They believe that some unseen force has predetermined a future of which there is no way to escape. But imagine if your destiny included another person, and try as you might, you both can't figure out why. The red thread of fate, sometimes known as the red string of fate or the red thread of marriage, is a Chinese philosophy similar to the idea of a soulmate. The invisible red string is tied around the fingers of two people who are destined to be together. The string might tangle or even stretch through time and space, but can never be cut or broken. Some people believe that this red thread may not only apply to marriage, but also to soulmate type friendships or relationships where you and the other person are supposed to accomplish something as a team. Today's episode is a mysterious case of fate where two people continually show up in each other's lives in the most bizarre ways. Welcome back to Wicked Mysterious, or if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Danny, and I explore all kinds of mysteries from aliens to paranormal stories to unexplained phenomena. And just a reminder that memberships are now open. You'll get access to memberships only Discord with me and early episode drops. With all that out of the way, let's get into today's mystery. A TikTok user by the name of AJ Magnifica 18, or Alana Joe, tells a wild tale about this red thread of fate in her series labeled Steve. Alana is a mom and teacher and is happily married, but there is no denying the strange amount of coincidences in her life regarding an acquaintance she calls Steve. This man appears repeatedly in her life under circumstances stranger than just sheer coincidence. Steve is also not his real name. Alana and Steve started school together in New York. They were in the same classes in kindergarten, first and second grade, which isn't that strange because they were in the same town and attended the same school, and of course, classes are just the luck of the draw. Part of the way through her second grade school year, Alana's family moved to a town just outside of Detroit, and a few months later, Alana's teacher said they had a new student joining their class, and in walked Steve. Alana was again able to write this off because both of their fathers worked in the same industry and they could have been following job opportunities, although they did not work at the same place and they did not even know each other. They were in the same classes again from second grade through fourth grade, and in fifth grade, Alana's family moved to a different side of town, and that caused Alana to have to switch elementary schools. Sure enough, though, 1 month later, Steve joined her class. A few years later, in seventh grade, Alana and her family moved back to New York to a different town than the one that they had previously lived. A few months later, again, she ran into Steve in the hallway of her new school. His family had also moved back from Michigan. This is a really long series over on TikTok, and Alana says repeatedly that they are not related and their parents were definitely not having an affair and did not even know each other. In later interviews with Steve, he clarifies the reason for some of their moves, which had nothing to do with Alana's family. Also, a lot of people asked why Steve and Alana weren't friends, and she just simply says that they never hit it off as friends. They just had nothing in common, especially in elementary school when it's less likely to have friends of the opposite gender. They spent 7th and 8th grade in the same school, and then Steve's family moved away in 9th grade. They attended different high schools and different colleges. In 2004, when she was in college, Alana spent a semester abroad in Madrid. Alana and her roommate, who was from Boston, would spend time at the bars in Madrid that were playing the Red Sox versus the Yankees ALCS games, which at the time, especially if you lived anywhere around Boston, were a very big deal. One night, Alana entered one of these bars, and sitting at a table there was Steve. They briefly discussed how strange it was that they were running into each other again, now on the other side of the world. Steve was also studying abroad, but in London. He just happened to be visiting friends in Spain. A few months later, Alana and her friends decided to take the trip to Prague for Christmas. They ended up getting lost and found themselves at an Irish pub in a dark alley. They stopped for drinks, and who was there but Steve? Prague is 1,400 miles away from Madrid. Fast forward over a decade, Alana is now a teacher at a school in New York. One of her newer coworkers mentioned her fiancé in conversation, and lo and behold, it's the same Steve. But then Steve ended up moving away and started a new job at a new company in a new city, nowhere near Alana in New York. But Alana received a Facebook message from an old friend's sister who explained that a man just started at her company and they realized they knew each other through Alana. After Alana started this TikTok series, followers, of course, were entranced by this very odd story and had a lot of questions. So Steve and Alana met up so that she could ask him questions for her followers. Steve never appears on camera and you can only hear his voice, but you can tell there's really no romantic connection between them at all. And a lot of commenters also thought that Steve was some sort of stalker, and Alana dismisses this completely, and there doesn't seem to be any suspicion of this on her part. After her meeting with Steve, she receives a package in the mail from him. Inside this package is Alana's autograph book that she lost at Disney World in 1994. Steve says his family found it on a bench and forgot to turn it into Lost and Found. It had recently been found again in his parents' basement, and as he was thumbing through it, he realized it had Alana's name and photos in it. And this is where I really started to think that this could not possibly be true, but Alana seems genuinely shaken up by this. They realized that they were at Disney at the same time, although Alana insists that this isn't in itself strange, as a lot of people go to Disney on school vacation, which is true. Steve is not the only strange coincidence surrounding Alana, though. She seems to be the type of person where weird things just happen to her, and she doesn't really consider herself to be psychic, but says that she is very intuitive and empathetic. She can feel when something is off and is great at reading energy in a room, but synchronicities seem to follow her. The name Anderson has appeared often in her life. When her son was younger, he insisted that there was a man in his bedroom named Mr. Anderson. The people they bought their home from were the Andersons, and their old landlords at a previous address were also called the Andersons. Steve has a connection with the name Anderson as well, but cryptically would not say what. Alana posted a video explaining that she had her furnace replaced and the receipt was signed by the contractor, and guess what his name was? Steven Anderson. Alana has a connection with the number 717. This was the date her grandfather passed, and her son's sports jerseys were 7 and 17, and she often looks at the clock at 7:17. Alana was very close with her grandfather, and the February after he passed away, she looked at her phone and realized that she had a missed call from Papa. As she was looking at her phone, it started ringing with another call from Papa, which freaked her out so bad that she accidentally dropped her phone and declined the call. There was a voicemail left, but it was just white noise. She called around to her family and quickly realized that her grandfather's phone had been canceled and the number was no longer his. Her aunt called the number and the person said that they didn't call Alana and they had no idea what she was talking about. Plus, if you really think about it, the person who ended up with his phone number wouldn't have had Alana's number anyway. It's not like the contacts were transferred. So Alana Googled the phone number and it said it was from Sullivan County, New York. And when she opened the map of Sullivan County, she immediately noticed the town Anderson. A TikTok commenter said that they were curious if 717 was an area code, and it is in Pennsylvania. It's also the area code for Anderson, Pennsylvania. Alana has a strange thing also with birds, particularly blue jays. Twice in her life, she's hit a blue jay with her car, which then got stuck in the grill of her car. And she's also worked part-time at a local coffee shop for over 25 years. And one day around Christmas, a customer came in and insisted that he knew her. Alana explained that he probably just recognized her from her many years of working there. And he went on to say that he had a box of toys that he was donating for Christmas. And one of them was definitely for her. He kept telling her he had such a strong feeling to give it to her. He went out to his car, and when he came back in, he handed her a wrapped present and then left. When she opened it, it was a stuffed blue jay. Another follower of Alana's found a town in the 717 area code by the name of Bird in Hand. In Bird in Hand, using Google Maps, the follower found a psychic. The business was named Mrs. Anderson, Psychic Tarot Card Reader and Advisor, and her email address was Mrs. Anderson 717. She emailed her but has yet to hear back. Alana still makes TikTok videos on a regular basis, so give her a follow if you want to see how this all unfolds. Hi, this is Editing Danny. I just wanted to give you a quick update because I think I recorded this episode over a month ago, but I actually wrote it for the old Wicked Mysterious days when I was just a podcast. So my actual writing was kind of old, so I wanted to go back and check on Alana and see if there were any updates, and there were. I apologize ahead of time if I couldn't quite fit this in to where it sounds natural, but I know some of you love Editing Danny. Also, my Yeti mic has shit the bed and my dog and cat are fighting in the background, so hopefully this all works out. Anyway, okay, just another update. I have a puppy, which members, I know you know that already. I posted a picture of her, but she fights with my cat. So I've put her away in her crate so I can finish this recording, and now she's crying and she sounds like a gremlin. So I'm very, very sorry for the distractive noise in the background and my distracting banter. So anyway, here's the update. So Steve got married to Jen, and Jen was tagged in a picture of her wedding day on Facebook, and Alana saw it. And Jen's wedding dress was identical, well, nearly identical to Alana's that Alana wore 17 years ago when she married her husband. So there's the first update. Second update occurred in the summer of 2024. Alana and her husband were in the Boston area looking at different colleges for their son, and they stayed at an Airbnb in Cambridge. They posted a picture and received a message from Steve's wife, Jen, who noticed that the wallpaper looked familiar and asked if they were staying in Cambridge. They compared addresses and come to find out Jen's parents owned the Airbnb that Alana and her family had selected. Weird. In September 2024, so just about a year ago, Alana went to work. She works at a school. She wore jeans and a black t-shirt. 14 other staff members were wearing the exact same outfit, jeans and a black shirt. When she posted about this on her TikTok, her followers asked her to ask Steve what he was wearing, and he was also wearing jeans and a black shirt. His wife was wearing black yoga pants and a denim shirt. In November 2024, Alana was on a trip in Vienna, overseas, all the way in Vienna, and ran into Jen's aunt on a bus. You can't even make this up. Okay, so then the weirdest one yet. In May 2025, Alana was visiting her grandparents in Florida in the Palm Beach area. She was flying home that day, and Steve messaged her that he was just in an airport and witnessed two women watching Alana's videos about Steve. Steve and his wife were going on their baby moon, so she was obviously very pregnant, and they sit and eavesdrop on the two women for a while, and then one of the women was speculating whether or not Steve's baby was born yet. Steve went over to them and pointed to his wife's stomach and said, "Nope, still cooking." And the girls were shocked that they were actually within earshot of the actual Steve while watching Alana's videos on him. 3 hours after Steve texted Alana, Alana was at the airport because she was going home from her grandparents' house in the Palm Beach, Florida area. She ran into two girls in the bathroom. They locked eyes in the mirror, and one of the girls looked like she had seen a ghost and she was going to faint. She ended up talking to them, and Alana messaged Steve asking if these two girls fit the description of the girls that she just saw. And she asked Steve if he was at the Palm Beach airport. Come to find out, those two girls were the same two that Steve had seen. They were still there at the airport, and Alana and Steve missed each other by 3 hours. Alana and Steve's birthdays are 6 months apart. Alana is 6 months older than Steve, and Steve's baby was born the day before Alana's birthday on the 17th of the month. So not on Alana's birthday, but the day before. So there's another 17 connection. And then most recently this month, September 2025, Alana and her family went apple picking and ran into who else but Steve, his wife, and their new baby. She thinks that this is not that strange because if you were going to go apple picking, that's where you would go. That's the place you would go local to them. And then they leave the apple picking place and they go to get a pumpkin at a farm. At this farm, guess who's there? Steve, his wife, and his baby. That night, Alana and her husband decide to go have a drink at a local bar and have some downtime. Who is there? Steve and his wife finishing dinner. So most recently, the most recent update from Alana was about the first day of school. She stopped for coffee, which she very rarely does because she usually makes her coffee at home. She was pulling into the parking lot of the coffee shop near her work and thought she recognized Steve exiting the coffee shop in his car. She dismissed it because Steve doesn't even live near there. But when she went inside, on the floor was somebody's credit card. She picked it up and it was Steve's. She messaged him and he said that he was still in town and they met up so she could return his card back to him. But then the final update, I think it was the final. Yeah, the final update was very, very strange because Alana says that after talking to Steve, he apparently left his credit card there on purpose. Which I don't really get because if they passed each other while driving, he's exiting the parking lot and she's coming in. How would he have known that she was going to be there and why? Like, I guess I get the lore of it and to try to make a funny joke, but you're risking your credit card being stolen by some random stranger. How would he have even known that she was? I don't know. It's just a very odd story. What if she went in the drive-thru and never even went inside? So very strange layer. Makes you wonder about what exactly is going on with Alana and Steve. So yeah, those are the updates. Let me know what you think, and if you want to hear more. Her Steve updates are pretty infrequent now on her TikTok, as you can imagine, because most of these stories go back years. So she had a lot of content about it, but now it's kind of dried up a little. So let me know what you think. Back to your regular scheduled programming. And I do want to hear your weird glitch in the matrix stories. Tell me all about your synchronicities. I do have another episode coming on synchronicities specifically, but I want to hear what kind of weird red threads of fate that you have. So let me know in the comments below. Some of you have reached out asking me for readings. And if you didn't know, I do have a degree in metaphysics, specifically psychics and counseling. And I do have a small spiritual advising practice on the side. So if you're interested in meeting with me, either to get a reading or advising, I am doing 10% off for Wicked Mysterious's third birthday. So you can go over to my website and book a reading between now and Halloween and get 10% off with promo code birthday99. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe. Don't forget to become a member if that interests you, and check out the merch shop below. I will see you again soon, and stay mysterious.